common misconception that narcissists are these crazy people that don't miss you, that they never loved you. They don't have empathy. They don't have a lot of positive emotion. So they can't love you the same way we love people, right? They loved you for the things you did for them. Whatever the supply you provided for that narcissist, that's how they loved you, right? It was very transactional. There's people who aren't narcissists who have these type of relationships and they call that love. They consider that love. One of the greatest things and epiphanies I've ever had about life is understanding that people just have their own perspectives about life. And that's why some people, you can tell them, hey, this thing is not right, right? You can see it very easily in the political system. No, this person should be president. No, this person should be president. And there's no way you're ever going to sway that other person. They're so ingrained and set in their beliefs that it doesn't matter what you say to them in their reality tunnel, as it's called, in their perspective about life. It doesn't matter what you say. They are emotionally and just so invested into this belief that there's nothing you could say to them. This is how narcissists, you have to understand when people have this, all people are like this, but narcissists have a disorder and they believe this about their false self. And when they begin to miss you, it's because, like ourselves, right? We aren't narcissists, likely an empath or something like that. We miss people for the normal reasons because we actually miss their being, the way they talked, the places we went to. The narcissist starts to miss you when inevitably they keep doing what they do, they keep hurting people, the new supply they left you for, they it's gonna go bad with them just like it went bad with you. How are they not gonna miss you? Birds of a feather flock together. I'm sure we've all heard that, but if you haven't, it just means that people hang out with people that are like them. Narcissists are gonna end up with other low life type people. They're narcissists, psychopaths, degenerates, because that's what the narcissist is. They're a freaking degenerate. A lot of them are alcoholics, addicts, obviously very rude and toxic people. So it's gonna inevitably it's gonna fail. That's the thing about dating or being with knowing a narcissist. Have you noticed that the relationship just keeps getting worse and worse and worse? It doesn't matter how many times they say sorry, if they ever do say sorry, which is rare for them. Do you think that they brutally discarded you, that they yelled at you, that they cheated on you, and then in a week they just transformed into this loving person that is nice and knows how to have a functional relationship? But I've been there myself. We are normal people. We aren't these emotionless, soulless robots like the narcissist, and we get in our feelings and we get stuck in these states of grief because it's a very dark, traumatic experience dating a narcissist or just befriending one, or especially having one as a parent. I've had narcissists as parents. I've dated them. I've had friends that were like at least maybe even psychopaths. There's this one guy who, man, it, all psychopaths I think are narcissists. The saying is that all psychopaths are narcissists, but not all narcissists are psychopaths. These people at the beginning are very alluring. I remember when I met this guy who I believe is at the very least a narcissist, maybe even a psychopath, sociopath. He's very charming. He's lucky that, I mean, everyone said he was very good looking. He seemed to be successful, at least on the surface, right? Because this is all surface level. If you notice that with the person, the narcissist, it's all on the surface. That's why they miss you. That's what they're gonna miss about you. They're only skin deep, guys. So they're gonna miss what you did for them. I remember this guy. He was charming and he looked like he had it all together. But as the time went on, he did all those same things. I obviously, he was just a friend. I didn't date him, but started to belittle me. He started to steal from me. He started to do all the things that the narcissist I dated, did to me eventually. And why is this? It's because that's their true character, right? People eventually reveal themselves when you meet, because hopefully you've met good people. eventually you begin to see their good deeds. When you meet a truly good person, like, you're probably a very empathetic, nice person. As people meet you, do your relationships get worse? They probably don't. If you're an empath or just a normal person, they get better. You start building trust with people, you start bonding, you start um doing the things that trust builds, right? Like when you trust someone more, when you're a normal person that isn't a narcissist, you begin to do bigger favors for people. You begin to have people's back. A narcissist never has your back, and all the people they meet never have their back. Of course, they miss you. They don't miss you for these loving, great reasons, but they do miss you. That's the even more tragic part, right? Like they do miss you and they do want you back because usually, right? There's always there's always exceptions to the rule, right? Sometimes the narcissist finds a new victim that's just is in a very dark place, just like we were. I admit, self-admittedly, was in one of the darkest places in my life when I ran into the narcissist. It's strange. I was also the happiest I've ever been, but it was a bad kind of happy. I self-admittedly, I'm not an angel. I was running with the wrong crowd. I was drinking a lot. I was being what young people call a city boy, and I'll make I've kind of said this story, but I'm gonna go more in detail later. I was dancing with the devil, and that is why I ran into a narcissist. As hopefully I've expressed in a lot of these videos, I'm not out there hurting people. I'm not out there stealing, robbing, manipulating, and hurting people. I don't consider myself a bad person. It's just sometimes I know it's nothing I'm proud of, but I've ran into like having addictions and just whether it's to casual hookups or drinking, whatever, and stuff like that makes you a narcissist. It's why the world is the way it is right now. When you are this very fly by night, it's all about me, my pleasures. I'm gonna go drink. I'm gonna hook up with this person because I want to feel good, and it's not this mutual. Because that's what there is a point. There's always a point where things become an addiction, just like the narcissist. Why do you think the narcissist is like that? I was being a bit narcissistic because it was about me, right? I wasn't thinking about the other person. I was like, I need to hook up with this person because I want to feel good. That's how the narcissist thinks. They're an addict. They're an addict of the world, and they're not thinking. And that's the thing, man. And girls, they aren't thinking of. Don't take it personally because they aren't really thinking of you. They're thinking just that's why they hurt people. It's a full focus on themselves. Just like when an addict is so involved in their addiction that they're willing to do whatever. It's not that they personally hate you if they steal from you to feed their addiction. That's what the narcissist is. But they have the addiction to the supply. That's why they steal money from you because they want that money to go get more. They probably use that to pay their rent so they could go on like bringing people to their house because they're addicted of hooking up with people, or they steal money for you so they can for whatever addiction they have, right? Or they steal your affection and lie to you and tell you they do love you so you keep coming over. That's what the narcissist is, and people like that they're always gonna miss you. I've hung around with I've seen some of the darkest parts of humanity, and I've experienced some of the darkest parts of humanity. It's how I know so much at such a young age. I've I've stared at evil in the face, and I didn't like it. You know why I didn't like it? Because I saw a lot of myself in it, honestly, and I straight up did not like it. I was like, when I met the narcissist, I was at a point where I needed to meet a narcissist. I needed to run into them. They mirrored a lot of my bad habits to me. They were doing a lot of things I was doing, and I said, I don't want to be anything like this person. This is ghoulish. This is evil. This is beyond anything I find acceptable. Whether you see a narcissist, an addict, just terrible people in general, they don't have a lot of love in their life. So when they run into someone like you, especially if you're one of those like super empaths, right? You think that they don't miss you? They don't miss you for the right reasons, of course, but you might have been the only person in their life that ever genuinely loved them. Because that's what created them. Their parents, at the very least, neglected them. Maybe they didn't necessarily, well, that's a form of abuse. Maybe they didn't intentionally abuse them, but that's why they're like that. Whether you want to call it demon possession, straight up psychological abuse, these are very hurt, damaged people, and the very few things that they just by luck of the draw they ran into you, because they're bad people. They're not attracting good things on purpose. They start to miss you even worse when it's been a few months, a few years, and all of their evil deeds are catching up to them. They realize, because they're crazy guys, but and girls, but they're not they're still lucid, right? You can still have conversations with them to a certain extent. Like they're not one of those people that like those crazy homeless people that are walking around the street and they think they're in like another dimension, right? They're still lucid to a certain extent, and they know. I feel like a lot of us get stuck in this perception of the narcissist, like they're this kind of because, and I say it a lot too. Is I say they're unconscious, but that's a very esoteric and there's a lot of meaning behind that because when you say someone is unconscious, you kind of and this goes deep. Obviously, it's unconscious. A lot of what we do is unconscious, but the narcissist knows what they're doing at least on a surface level, right? Even when we do things that when we go back to the narcissist when we know better because we're just stuck in these unconscious patterns. Just like we know better, they know better too. They're still lucid. That's eventually gonna catch up to them, as messed up and disordered as they are. They're not as dumb as we would like to think they are when it's been years and years and everything has failed in their life. Because narcissists are very live in the very here and now, like many addicts. They are gonna see that the relationships all failed, that they don't have any money, that they're alone, that their whole life is in shambles. You don't think someone in that state is gonna miss you? The person that gave them everything, the person that did everything for them? Of course they miss you. But but I think what I try to focus here in these videos is you you're gonna miss them because you're a good person and you really love them. But don't let missing them drag you back into a toxic situation and let them miss you. That's their karma, and do what I do. Well, we all gonna figure this out eventually on our own, and I'm just here to guide you to that place of healing. Well, what I did is I used that pain and that misery of missing someone who hurt me, who was never gonna love me the way I love them. I use that to fuel me and push myself to achieve all the things that I stopped achieving because I was dating a toxic person who was holding me back.